I think everyone in football admires Carlo as a coach and as a person. If you don't know him as a person, at least you know him as a coach.
The style of leadership, the calmness, the outfit, everything about Carlo Ancelotti is iconic to its core. Unlike many of his peers, Ancelotti has never needed to shout for respect or point fingers at referees when things don't go his way. Instead, he lets his record do the talking. And what a record it is.
Does he rank for you all time?
All time, he's the greatest.
He's the greatest.
He's the greatest. Look what he's done. He's won it in different countries. He's won...
like without a doubt.
Without a doubt, he is the greatest.
He's not going to rock the boat. He's not going to come out in the press and be overly scathing towards Perez or anybody else.
Great man-manager. Really great. Well,
but what sets Ancelotti apart isn't just his silverware, it's how he won them. His style defies convention. While other managers, like the self-proclaimed Special One, often make headlines with their flamboyance and controversy, Ancelotti's quiet, calm approach steals the show. This makes you wonder, is Ancelotti the real Special One?
I like him so much as a person that I'm going to say the obvious. He's one of the top managers in the world of the last 2 decades, and of course now.
I think calmness is probably the thing that is the most important. You know, we play in a lot of games that are really important, and we play in a lot of kind of high pressure games, and I think when you're around someone who's as calm as he is as often as you are, it kind of rubs off on you, and you go into the games a lot more relaxed, and knowing that his team and himself have done the work so that you can just kind of go out and play freely.
Carlo, of course, is a good friend of mine, teammate of mine. Carlo is the kind of guy, the kind of uncle you want you to visit all the time. You know, he's the one you're looking forward to see. Yeah, and that is Carlo. And he's a very, very good person.
In modern football, coaches are like passionate preachers. They have a strict vision on how the game should be played, a master plan that they teach to their players with almost religious dedication. Pep Guardiola, for example, led Manchester City to a treble by sticking firmly to his philosophy. Jurgen Klopp resurrected Liverpool with his energetic style, and Diego Simeone, with his defensive approach, has kept Atletico Madrid punching above their weight for years. Their belief in their own way of playing football is so strong that any player who doesn't fit in is quickly shown the door. However, with Carlo Ancelotti, it's an entirely different story.
Whereas for him, he just lets the players express themselves, go on the pitch and be who you are. You know, Carlo doesn't put so much pressure on the players. He doesn't give you too much information. He just lets, because he knows what you're capable of. Go out there and perform. Go out there and be you.
Carlo, how different was Carlo for you? You had him for a couple of years.
Yeah, Don Carlo, I think for me.
Amazing.
For me, yeah, a fantastic manager. First manager to win the Champions League 5 times.
Incredible.
Fantastic man. You know, he doesn't speak much. He doesn't give too much information. He just lets you express yourself. And that's something I've seen with this Real Madrid team. He did same with us. He let us express ourselves. He gives you the freedom to do what you want.
Ancelotti isn't known for revolutionizing football tactics or creating a media frenzy with bold statements or fiery passion. He's the pragmatist of the bunch, as calm and collected on the touchline as he is off it. While other managers stick rigidly to their philosophies, Ancelotti is flexible and collaborative. He doesn't cling to a single plan A. If something isn't working, he's more than willing to rethink and adapt, coming up with a new plan B. And yes, he has always delivered. Over his 20-year career at the top level, Ancelotti has managed some of the most prestigious clubs in the world. Juventus, Milan, Chelsea, PSG, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and Napoli. And guess what? He's won major trophies at every one of them. He's also one of the few managers that can brag about winning the Champions League 5 times, twice with Milan and 3 times with Real Madrid, his latest victory coming in 2024. That's some serious silverware collection.
Spain, Germany. But how would you describe your footballing philosophy? You seem to adapt to whatever country or competition you're in.
It's difficult to say in one word. First of all, you have to consider that you need to manage men, not players. Of course, they are not players. They are men that play football. This is different. First of all is this. So for me, it's very important, the relationship. And it's really important, the communication.
Don Carlo is the only coach to have won league titles in Europe's top 5 leagues. He's conquered Italy, England, France, Germany, and Spain with giants like AC Milan, Chelsea, PSG, Bayern Munich, and Real Madrid. But he hasn't just stuck to the big names. He's also led smaller teams like Reggiana, Parma, Napoli, and Everton. Each time, he's tailored his method to suit the players and the club's traditions.
Carlo is the most relaxed manager I ever met in my life, one of the best people you can meet. Fantastic person, a humble person, super smart and nice. Obviously his man management is a completely different level to all of us. I respect that a lot, I admire that a lot.
Take his time at AC Milan, for example. When he arrived in 2001, Milan's owner Silvio Berlusconi had one request: more attractive football than what they'd seen under Fabio Capello. Ancelotti, being the adaptable genius he is, didn't impose his ideas on the team. Instead, he took on Berlusconi's vision and ran with it. At Milan, he faced numerous challenges, one of which was blending extraordinary talents into a cohesive team. Imagine trying to blend superstars like Seedorf, Kaká, Rui Costa, and Andrea Pirlo into one midfield. Sounds like a headache, right? But not for Ancelotti. Instead of sticking rigidly to a system, he worked with his players to create a formation that played to their strengths. They came up with the now famous diamond setup, with Pirlo orchestrating from deep and Kaká dazzling at the front. This approach paid off spectacularly, leading Milan to Championship League glory in 2003 after defeating Juventus on penalties. Of course, there were bumps along the way, like the heart-wrenching miracle of Istanbul in 2005. Milan had a 3-0 lead in the Champions League final against Liverpool, only to see it slip away in a dramatic comeback that led to a penalty shootout loss. However, in 2007, Milan got their sweet revenge, beating Liverpool 2-1 in the final. This time, the gods of soccer were on their side. Fast forward to 2009, Ancelotti took on a new challenge at Chelsea. This time, he didn't need to rebuild the team from scratch. Chelsea already had a solid squad, thanks to Jose Mourinho's earlier efforts. However, under managers Avram Grant and Luis Felipe Scolari, they'd lost their spark. Roman Abramovich, the club's owner, wanted exciting football, and the Don was more than happy to deliver. But he knew better than to tear everything down and start from scratch. You see, when Ancelotti started with Chelsea, he focused on earning the trust of the senior players.
What I really loved about Carlo was his man management, the way he adapted as well, because he had a way of coaching that probably didn't suit English football, but he adapted very quickly when speaking to me, Frank, Didier. He wanted to pick our brains of, is this too much tactic for the players to do? Are we doing too much of this? You know, I want to get the right balance. And that I've never had a manager actually in probably all my career that had asked the players and give them a bit of responsibility.
So during preseason, instead of changing everything, he stuck with the training routines left by interim manager Gus Hiddink. Chelsea's players expected a typical Italian coach to bring in his own methods, especially separating fitness training from football drills. But Ancelotti kept things as they were, respecting the existing setup. Ancelotti started the season at Chelsea using his favorite formation from his AC Milan days, the 4-1-2-1-2, also known as the 4-4-2 diamond setup. It had worked wonders in Italy, so why not try it in the Premier League? Deco was supposed to play a deep playmaker role, similar to Pirlo at Milan, with Frank Lampard attacking from the midfield. Up front, Didier, Drogba, and Nicolas Anelka were the main strikers. Sounds perfect, right? Well, not exactly. The plan didn't pan out as smoothly as Ancelotti hoped. Deco struggled to pull the strings from deep like Pirlo used to. Lampard, positioned too far forward, wasn't making his trademark late runs into the box, so his goal tally dipped. And the chemistry between Drogba and Anelka, it just wasn't there. They didn't mesh like Milan, Shevchenko, and Ngazi. Most managers might have stubbornly stuck to their plans, but not Ancelotti. He's a pragmatist, and when he saw the system wasn't working, he did something rare. He owned up to it and made changes. He repositioned Lampard back into a deeper role, and just like that, the goals started flowing again. Deco was benched for more traditional midfield workhorses, like Michael Ballack and Michael Essien. Ancelotti also scrapped the rigid formation. The team shifted to a more flexible 4-4-2, which could easily switch to a 4-3-3. Drogba excelled as the lead striker, with Anelka and Florent Malota attacking from the wings. Fullbacks Ashley Cole and Bratislav Ivanovic started joining the attack more while also staying strong in defense. Captain John Terry led a solid backline, missing only one league game all season. This decision proved to be genius. They also won the FA Cup. But before that final, Carlos Ancelotti did what no manager in today's game will ever do.
I was standing at the front with the marker pen and the flip chart, and he started off the team talk, if you like, the night before the game by saying, this is the last game of the season. We know what we're able to do. We know the opposition. What do you think the tactics should be? And then, there was a silence, and the players were obviously hadn't had this kind of question asked to them before. But gradually the hands started to go up and the points started to come down, and before you knew it, we had a list of defending points and a list of attacking points. And that was it. Team talk was done, tactics were decided, and the players went on and delivered.
He brought into the fact that everyone buys into it and you have an input of what time you train, so the responsibility is on you as a group, and he was part of that. It made you feel the togetherness was incredible, and obviously we went on to win some big things.
The game turned out to be a dominant one for Chelsea, with the team hitting the woodwork 5 times in the first half alone. Didier Drogba broke the deadlock in the 58th minute with a brilliant free kick, which proved to be the winning goal. The victory secured Chelsea's first league and FA Cup double. But football is unpredictable, and success can be fleeting. Despite the previous season's triumphs, Chelsea struggled the following year. Things didn't click the same way, and the club's form dipped. By the end of the season, Ancelotti, who had brought so much joy to Stamford Bridge, was unceremoniously sacked. Ancelotti didn't stay unemployed for long, though. 6 months later, in January 2012, he was back in the game as PSG appointed him as their new manager. PSG had big ambitions and saw Ancelotti as the man to deliver, and deliver he did. During his first year and a half in Paris, he guided them to their first Ligue 1 title since 1994, re-establishing them as a force in French football. But as the summer of 2013 rolled around, a new challenge beckoned from Spain. Real Madrid came calling, and Ancelotti couldn't resist. When he arrived in Madrid, the club was in need of a fresh start. The previous era under Jose Mourinho had been marked by cautious defensive play, which didn't sit well with the club's attacking DNA. President Florentino Perez wanted to rekindle the flair and excitement, and Ancelotti seemed like the perfect fit to steer the ship. Initially, Ancelotti envisioned Real Madrid playing in a 4-4-2 formation, with Cristiano Ronaldo and Karim Benzema leading the attack, as well as Gareth Bale and James Rodriguez on the wings. But Ronaldo had different ideas. He preferred to play out wide where he could best utilize his skills.
He's looking at the best players that he has and trying to devise a system around them, as opposed to starting with a system and then fitting the players in.
Most managers might have insisted on their way, but not Ancelotti. Instead, he listened and adapted. He switched to a 4-3-3 setup, keeping Ronaldo happy and playing at his best. This gave birth to the legendary BBC trio: Bale, Benzema, and Cristiano. The arrangement didn't just satisfy everyone. It led to Real Madrid to win the cherished La Decima, their 10th Championship League title, a trophy they had chased for 12 long years.
Mr. Ancelotti, it was an unbelievable surprise. In the beginning, I thought he was more tough person, more kind of arrogant, and it was the opposite. I just wish every player can have opportunity to work with him, because he's a fantastic guy, fantastic coach, and I miss him a lot.
The following season was a tough one for Real Madrid. They came up against Barcelona's unstoppable MSN trio: Messi, Suarez, and Neymar. Barca was on fire, winning everything in sight: La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and the Champions League. Meanwhile, Real Madrid ended the season empty-handed, no trophies. Naturally, this sparked a ton of speculation about Carlo Ancelotti's future. The big question on everyone's mind was, will Ancelotti get another shot, or is his time at Madrid up? Real Madrid's president Florentino Perez decided to swing the axe, stating that the club's demands were extremely high and a trophyless season was unacceptable. This decision didn't sit well with everyone, especially within the squad. The dressing room was reportedly in full support of Ancelotti, and the players were vocal about their disappointment. Cristiano Ronaldo, one of Ancelotti's biggest admirers, took to Twitter to voice his support for the departing manager. He tweeted, "Great coach and amazing person. Hope we work together again next season." Next up was Bayern Munich. The expectations were through the roof, especially when it came to the Champions League. Bayern's fans and the board were dreaming of European glory. Don Carlo did deliver on the domestic front. He won the Bundesliga and clinched the German Super Cup twice. However, when it came to the Champions League, that dream kept slipping away. On top of that, he struggled to keep the squad united, and once again, his time at the club ended sooner than expected. Ancelotti's journey then took unexpected turns. He joined Napoli and then Everton, clubs not typically seen at the same elite level as his previous teams. At Napoli, off-the-field issues limited what he could achieve. There was a huge power struggle between Ancelotti and Napoli owner Aurelio De Laurentiis. And it all came to a boiling point after a frustrating weekend loss to Roma during the 2019 season. Aurelio De Laurentiis decided drastic measures were needed. He ordered the team into retiro, an Italian term for a boot camp-style lockdown at their training ground, demanding they stay there for a week to regroup and refocus. Ancelotti, known for his more relaxed approach, wasn't a fan of this old-school tactic. He believed that forcing players to stay at the training ground wouldn't solve anything. Despite his reservations, he went along with the order, and the team bunked down at the training ground as instructed. However, after the draw against Salzburg, the players had had enough. They refused to return to the camp and headed home instead, leaving Ancelotti and his coaching staff alone at the deserted training ground. This rebellion didn't sit well with De Laurentiis. The players' blatant defiance left De Laurentiis feeling humiliated and disrespected. In his eyes, Ancelotti, despite following orders, should have taken a firmer stand and forced the players to comply. This resulted in Ancelotti being fired. But as they say, when one door closes, another one opens. It didn't take long for Ancelotti to find a new challenge. Midway through the 2019-2020 season, he was offered the job at Everton. Moving to Everton was a different kind of challenge. The club wasn't in the same league, figuratively and almost literally, as the European giants he'd managed before. Yet Ancelotti's arrival brought a spark of excitement and hope to Goodison Park. Everton fans dreamed of what their club could achieve with a manager of his pedigree at the helm. Don Carlo started strong, especially after bringing in top players like James Rodriguez and Abdoulaye Doucouré. But the team's form faded, and he left without making the impact many had hoped for. These stints led some to wonder if Ancelotti's best days were behind him. The modern football world, dominated by tactical geniuses like Pep Guardiola and the charismatic personalities of managers like Jose Mourinho, seemed to be leaving him behind. People started to view Ancelotti as a figure from the past, not quite fitting into the present day's fast-paced, high-pressure game. But then, in 2021, Ancelotti returned to Real Madrid and everything changed. His comeback was nothing short of spectacular. He didn't just bring his winning ways back to the club, he also rekindled the deep personal bonds he builds with his players, one of his greatest strengths. Over the next 3 years, Ancelotti led Real Madrid to win a treasure trove of trophies: 2 La Liga titles, 2 Spanish Super Cups, a Copa del Rey, a UEFA Super Cup, a Club World Cup, and most importantly, another 2 Champions League titles.
You know the egos that you've played
Is he
with.
the best for you of all time?
Yeah, I think I do. And I think it's because of he's done it through different generations.
Yep.
When you look at his ability to adapt and keep changing, people talk that like, oh, he's not a tactic guy. He is. He is, but he's very subtle about it.
Yeah.
What truly makes Ancelotti stand out is his ability to succeed across different football eras without needing to completely reinvent himself. While many managers have to continuously innovate to stay relevant, Ancelotti has stuck to his core principles. He's not obsessed with controlling every aspect of the game like some of his peers. Instead, he tweaks the basics to suit the modern game, showing incredible adaptability. This ability to adjust without losing his identity has kept him at the top, even as others like Jose Mourinho have struggled to keep up with the fast-evolving football world.
Since he won his last Champions League, the first one to this one, 21 years difference. But it just shows you the ability to continue to adapt to the different generations.
He's seamlessly blended his tried and true methods with the demands of modern football. This flexibility makes it hard to believe he started his coaching career decades ago. His philosophy, working with his players, adjusting his tactics to fit their strengths, and treating them with respect, has been the key to his success.
And I think it was so good for Jude Bellingham to have Carlo Ancelotti on his first season with Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Because I don't think if he didn't have Carlo, I don't think he would have performed as well as he's done, because Carlo lets you express yourself. You can see the way Jude plays. He makes mistakes, but he doesn't, you know, you don't see Carlo screaming and shouting at him.
No.
He goes for the next one. But that's how you improve as a player. So for me, Carlo, fantastic manager.
Yeah.
If you find a way to bring, it doesn't matter, an experienced player or young player, to let him be comfortable, to push himself, 120% of his capabilities. You improve the player first, and then you improve the team. Definitely is one of his best qualities from my point of view.
For players, working under Ancelotti is like a dream. They feel comfortable and confident because they know he's willing to adapt his approach to fit the team's needs. This is why he's been successful wherever he goes. He is indeed the special one.